Welcome back to our channel. There's something strangely captivating about the clink of change in your pocket. A sound so ordinary, so often overlooked, yet behind one of those coins could lie a story waiting to be told. Today's journey starts not in the velvet halls of a museum, but in the everyday pockets of Americans going about their lives in the mid-1990s. Among their quarters, one coin stood quietly different, a 1994 quarter dollar that would, years later, defy all expectations. It's a cool spring day in 1994. The air is humming with optimism. The world is shifting, the internet is finding its legs, grunge music still lingers in the background, and people are beginning to dream bigger. Meanwhile, at the United States Mint, a familiar process unfolds. Sheets of metal, stamped with time-honored designs, are pressed into currency, into stories yet to be told. And among those millions of coins struck that year, a few bear something special. Something that would go unnoticed for decades. You see, the quarter, it's a coin that rarely draws attention. 25 cents, enough to buy a gumball, make a quick phone call, or feed a meter for a few minutes. But when you hold a 1994 quarter in your hand, you're holding more than just loose change. You're holding a continuation of history that spans back over 2 centuries, rooted in the very foundations of the country. The coin's obverse bears the stoic profile of George Washington, the nation's first president, a design that has graced the quarter since 1932. His gaze is calm, resolute, carved by John Flanagan, whose artistry captured the essence of leadership in a single sight glance. This wasn't just another presidential portrait. It was in homage to American resilience, minted in metal and circulated in millions. And yet, among those millions, just 1 or 2 coins would whisper a different tale. Beneath Washington's chin, the date is clear, 1994. To most, it's just a year. But to a collector's eye, it holds possibilities. The finish might glint a bit brighter, or the edges may show a sharper cut. Sometimes, it's a tiny imperfection, invisible to the casual observer, that changes everything. A shifted die, a doubled image, an off-center strike. The kind of minting quirks that transform ordinary coins into treasures of lore. These coins pass silently from hand to hand, through gas stations, grocery stores, arcade machines. No one stopped to think twice. And why would they? To the world, it was just another quarter. But behind one of those coins, tucked away in a forgotten jar, lay a secret waiting to be uncovered by the right pair of eyes. Collectors often speak of a feeling, a kind of electricity when they stumble upon something unusual. It's not about luck, they'll tell you. It's about knowing where to look, and what to look for. And someone, somewhere, found that very 1994 quarter. Not because they were lucky, but because they saw what others missed. A minuscule detail. A whisper from the past. They say every coin has a journey. This one began in a mint facility, traveled through unknown towns, maybe even crossed state lines, before being plucked from obscurity. Preserved. Examined. Revered. What was once tossed into tip jars or vending machines is now kept behind glass, admired under magnification, its surface is studied like pages of an ancient manuscript. The world of coin collecting is filled with passion and patience. It's not about the shine, it's about the story. And this particular story, of a 1994 quarter dollar, carries more than just historical weight. It carries value. Not just in metal or in memory, but in what collectors and historians alike would come to recognize as extraordinary. So what makes this coin so special? Why did it rise above its peers, above the countless others that shared the same date and face? That's where things get fascinating. At first glance, the 1994 quarter seems unremarkable. It's made of a copper-nickel blend, the standard composition since 1965. The reverse features the heraldic eagle wing spread, olive branches in its talons, a symbol of strength and peace. This design, too, is familiar and has adorned countless quarters over the years. But then there's the detail. The micro-elements. The way the feather lines curl more crisply, or how the text spacing is just subtly off. In one specific specimen, a die clash left faint but distinct markings, ghostly outlines where none should exist. In another, the planchet was slightly misaligned during striking, resulting in a beautiful off-center imprint. These aren't flaws. To collectors, they're signatures. Unintentional artistry. Silent accidents that turn a mundane coin into a masterpiece. Imagine discovering one in a dusty drawer. You pick it up, turn it over in your hand. Something about it feels different. The weight, perhaps. Or maybe it's the way light bounces across the surface. You bring it to a collector, just to satisfy your curiosity. And suddenly, you're staring at a quarter that carries not just interest, but incredible worth. The community takes notice. Experts weigh in. It's examined under microscopes, compared with mint records, its lineage traced. The story deepens. And soon, that once unnoticed coin has taken center stage in the numismatic world. For most, a 1994 quarter is a footnote in their daily transactions. But for a few, for the patient, the passionate, the ones who look closer, it's a beacon. A reminder that hidden gems can be found in the most ordinary places. And so, as we return to the present day, we look at that same coin with new eyes. It no longer hides in a drawer or rattles in a pocket. It rests in a collection, preserved with care, a testament to the power of curiosity and history. That 1994 quarter dollar, once dismissed as common, now holds a place of honor. And its value? A breathtaking $120,000. Because sometimes, the smallest treasures carry the greatest stories. In the quiet hum of everyday life, coins often go unnoticed. They're passed from hand to hand without ceremony, slipped into parking meters, dropped into vending machines, forgotten at the bottom of drawers. And yet, within that silence, stories are born. Among the coins minted in the modern era, one stands out not for its age, but for its mystery: the 2013 quarter dollar. A coin that would, with time, prove to be far more than what its face value suggested. The year 2013 didn't seem destined to create legends. It was a year of change, of growth, of fast-moving technology and new headlines. Smartphones were becoming extensions of ourselves, social media was rewriting the way we connected, and people were more focused on pixels than pocket change. But while attention turned to the digital world, the physical realm continued its rituals. At the United States Mint, presses thundered in rhythm, producing the coins of the nation, each stamped with the promise of utility, and perhaps something more. The 2013 quarter was part of a beloved and ambitious series, the America the Beautiful Quarters program. A program designed not just to carry currency but to carry culture, history, and pride. 5 unique designs were released that year, each honoring a treasured national site. From the towering pinnacles of Mount Rushmore to the wild splendor of White Mountain National Forest, the reverse of each coin told a story of place. Every swirl of the engraving tool and every strike of the die was a tribute to American heritage. And within those millions of stories, one particular coin carried something different. Let's pause a moment and imagine it. A coin strikes the die clean, sharp, ordinary. But then, something imperceptible happens. A slight misalignment. A pressure variance. A microscopic crack in the die face. Or perhaps the metal blank itself carries a flaw invisible to the naked eye. The result? A coin that still functions as intended, but carries a birthmark of rarity. A fingerprint of fortune. That single coin, struck in 2013, would find its way into the world with a subtle detail missed by most but cherished by those who know where to look. Collectors often speak of the thrill of discovery. The heart skips when a familiar object reveals something unfamiliar. A doubled die. An off-center strike. A striking error. A weak or missing mint mark. These aren't mistakes. They're the result of a unique moment in the minting process, moments that can't be replicated, moments that transform currency into treasure. This 2013 quarter, like others of its year, bore the inscription of a national park, but it also bore something else. A slightly rotated design. A shadow of doubling along the date. An anomaly in the metal's texture. A die chip nestled near the edge of the image. Alone, each detail could be dismissed. Together, they formed a chorus. A silent proclamation: this coin was different. It moved quietly. From a pocket to a till. From a cash drawer to a coin jar. It crossed towns, maybe states, maybe years before finally landing in the hands of someone who saw what others didn't. Who looked past the wear and shine and noticed the story beneath. The examination followed. Under magnification, the details sharpened. The fields, normally flat and smooth, bore the trace evidence of an unusual strike. The edges weren't quite aligned with precision. The design, perhaps Mount Rushmore, or Perry's Victory, had characteristics inconsistent with standard issues. A numismatist's dream: sharp fields, clean edges, and yet unmistakably unique. The marks of a minting misstep blended with precision, like a ghost note in a song. What seemed accidental was, in hindsight, serendipity. The America the Beautiful quarters were always more than just coins. They were miniature canvases, each a celebration of American heritage. They honored history, geography, and natural beauty. But within that celebration, the rare 2013 quarter stood as a quiet monument. It was not just about what was printed on it, but how it came to be. Its story wasn't one of design alone, but of deviation, rarity, and survival. Word spread. Collectors murmured. Online forums buzzed. Communities took note. Comparisons were drawn, databases checked, values estimated. Articles were written, and coin shows featured hushed conversations behind display cases. The chatter grew louder, but always centered on the coin's origin, its peculiarities, and its newfound importance. In time, it was no longer a simple quarter. It had become a specimen. A point of study. A touchstone for collectors and historians alike, and so, the journey of that 2013 quarter reached a new chapter. From a minting machine in a bustling facility, through the randomness of commerce, to the still hands of a collector who saw its worth. It now rests in a case, protected, admired, and studied. A reminder that even in the most modern times, old magic still lingers. It speaks to the spirit of collecting, the idea that value lies not just in rarity, but in the thrill of the hunt, the moment of discovery, and the history woven into every imperfection. This coin, born of an unintentional deviation, rose from the anonymity of circulation to become a legend in its own right. Its surface may be marked by time, but its legacy will endure for generations. It is not merely a collector's prize. It is a fragment of American history, sealed in copper and nickel, and as for its value? What once bought a gumball or a minute at the meter now stands as a prize worth far more. That rare 2013 quarter dollar now carries a value of $102,000, but because sometimes, what seems ordinary is anything but. A coin can often go unnoticed in the shuffle of daily life. It jingles in pockets, slides across counters, and disappears into drawers with barely a second thought. Yet hidden in that endless movement are stories. Some coins are more than just loose change. They're time capsules. Silent witnesses to the moments that shaped them. And among those quiet relics, the 2016 USA quarter dollar holds a tale worth telling, a tale that begins in plain sight and ends in surprise. The year 2016 was a year of contrast. It buzzed with technology, politics, and innovation. The world was watching screens, reading headlines, updating apps. It was a time of great connectivity and fast-paced living. But even as the world rushed forward, one institution stayed grounded in tradition: the United States Mint. Behind those secure walls, the presses moved with rhythmic precision, turning blank metal planchets into the coins we spend without a second glance. But in the midst of those millions of perfect strikes, something unexpected happened. A coin emerged, not with fanfare, but with subtle distinction, part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. The 2016 quarters continued a journey of storytelling through design. That year, 5 designs were released, each depicting a cherished American site, from the serene landscapes of Cumberland Gap to the vibrant cultural history of Harper's Ferry. These coins weren't just functional. They were miniature works of art, pressed in copper and nickel, each design crafted to preserve a piece of American pride. The intricate detail of a monument, the shadow of a forest, the curve of a river, all captured in a circle barely larger than an inch. But among these coins, one held something more. Something rare that might have slipped through fingers at a roadside diner. Maybe it was tossed into a tip jar or fed into a soda machine. No one noticed anything special, not at first. It bore the same date. It held the same weight. It felt no different to the touch. But it was different. A detail barely perceptible to most began its quiet journey through the hands of strangers. That difference? A minting anomaly. Perhaps a doubled die, creating a ghostly echo of the date. Or a misaligned die, shifting the image just so. Maybe even a rare transitional error, where the coin was struck on a planchet meant for another denomination entirely. Something that wasn't supposed to happen, but did. These aren't mistakes. They're whispers of imperfection. A testament to the fact that even the most controlled processes are vulnerable to chance. And to collectors, they're pure gold. This 2016 quarter didn't scream its value. It waited patiently. Carried in pockets, passed with change, enduring wear with quiet dignity. Until one day, a train that caught the nuance, a thin raised line where none should be, a curve out of place, a difference in the finish. A slight doubling around the inscriptions. A subtle shift in the reeded edge alignment. A coin that had lived 1,000 mundane lives suddenly became a discovery in the hands of a numismatist. That coin was more than a curiosity. It was a riddle. Microscopes came out. Measurements were taken. Photos snapped and shared. Debates were had. Theories formed. Was it a machine doubling, or a true doubled die? A strike through grease, or a genuine error in the die? As the details emerged, one thing became clear: this was no ordinary quarter. It was a rare find, an outlier, a product of an imperfect moment in a process designed for perfection, and so, the community took notice. Collectors compared notes, drew connections, verified and validated. The quarter, once indistinct, became a beacon. It was studied, classified, given a grade. Perhaps it received an MS-68 or MS-69, its condition nearly flawless aside from the very anomaly that made it valuable. And in doing so, it stepped into a new realm. No longer just a 2016 quarter dollar, it became a symbol of how even in a world of precision, wonder can be born of error. There's something romantic about that. That a small, forgotten object can rise above its origins. That something as common as a quarter can be lifted out of circulation and placed in a velvet-lined case. That the simple act of noticing can reveal treasure. That history, art, and chance can come together in a single coin, and that's the beauty of collecting. It's not just about wealth. It's about the hunt. The thrill of finding something others missed. It's about honoring the past, preserving the unexpected, and recognizing that even a sliver of metal can carry a legacy. For the collector who found that quarter, the experience was more than monetary. It was a moment of validation, the reward for curiosity and attention to detail now that coin sits away from the clatter and clink of everyday life. It's guarded, admired, discussed. It reminds us that even in a fast-paced world, there's value in slowing down, in paying attention, in being curious. It has been documented in catalogs, showcased in conventions, and mentioned in forums with reverence. It's no longer just a coin. It's a story, one that collectors will tell for years to come, because that unassuming 2016 quarter, the one with a story hidden in its surface, is now worth $92000. A treasure in disguise, waiting all along to be found.